Hey, what's up guys and gals? Welcome to your very own astrology channel, and today we'll be discussing the aspects of the planet Mars. And for some of those of you who have been already following me, they must be well aware of the fact that I have made two videos, one theoretical one and one practical one, in which I had discussed the aspects and try to make the aspect thing as easy as possible. And in fact, the response was very overwhelming, and many of the people appreciated the video. They said they were like, I made that aspect thing as clear into their head as it never was. So likely on that note, I am making this third video on the aspects, in which I'll be discussing the aspects of Mars, because only there are three planets in Vedic astrology that have got the special aspects. Other than these three planets, that is Mars, Jupiter and Saturn, most of the other planets only aspects the place where they are sitting, and the place that is opposite them. That is, most of the planets in astrology, all the other planets in astrology, other than these three, have only the first aspect and the seventh aspect. But these three planets are blessed with two aspects more. Like Saturn is blessed with the first aspect, third aspect, seventh aspect, and 10th aspect. Likewise, Jupiter aspects the first place from itself, the fifth place, the seventh place, and the ninth place from itself. And Mars aspects the first place, the fourth place, the seventh place, and the eighth place from itself. Of course, Rahu and Ketu also have the other two aspects, but they are not planets. They are nodes. So I'm not considering them, at least for now. So anyways, we'll be studying the aspects related to Mars in this particular episode. So here I have, as you can see, I have drawn a Vedic chart, and Mars aspects the places 1, 4, 8, 1, 4, 7 and 8 from itself. So Mars is placed here. Mars is placed in the third house. Mars is placed in the second house, and in the sign of Gemini. And for those of you who are confused with the signs and what this housing thing is all about, they may watch my previous video in which I had discussed aspects of Saturn and Jupiter. You come back here and the things would be much more easy. So Mars is in the second house, is in the house of Gemini. So Mars will aspect the place where it is sitting, this place. Mars will aspect 1, 2, 3, 4 places from itself. So it will have its aspect on the fifth house, then seventh. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Mars will have its aspect on the eighth house, on the seventh house. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and then Mars will have an aspect on the house 8th from itself. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Now, I told you, if you have watched my second house episode, in one part of it I have discussed then what can lead to a verbal abuse in Vedic astrology, and in that I told you that planet Mars, if not placed in good dignity in the second house of our horoscope, then it can show verbal abuse and addiction to any kind of the alcoholic drinks, cigarettes, marijuana, or any drugs that induces the temporary or the permanent insensibility. Because Mars is a headless planet. Mars is a planet that doesn't have a memory of its own. It is good at taking the orders from somebody and executing the task. That is why it's called a planet that is good in sports, where you have somebody, a coach or something like that, guiding you. Mars receives the order from the ministers, that is from Saturn and Jupiter in astrology, and conducts the task that is being designated to him. Whether the task is good or bad, that is designated to him. Mars will make sure that he will die till the last 1 ml of blood is in his veins, and till the last 1 ml of oxygen is in his lungs. He is that's what makes Mars a very strong planet in a person's chart. because it's the planet of taking actions, fighting against enemies. But Mars here can lead to verbal abuse in the second house, as I told you, and the reason. And let's see, since Mars has its aspect here, and Mars has its aspect here, and Mars has its aspect here. So what it can do is that here the Mars not only indulges into the verbal abuse, and the things of that sort, addictions and all. Here Mars, this the fifth house in Vedic astrology, and it's the house of the king. So here the presence of Mars in the second house indicates a personality who not only is verbally abusive, but he feels that he is the king, because second house where the Mars is placed is the house of the rational thinking, where we think rationally, where we think about numbers, where we think about whether what we are going to do is right or not, and what will be the repercussions of our actions. And Mars, when placed into the second house, it causes a sort of tumult, chaos, agitation in our mind. And Mars is kind of a planet which does not use its head. So what does it do when it aspects the fifth house? It here feels that he is the king. He is the king in Vedic astrology who needs to be respected, who needs to be. He feels that he is that one person that whatever he says, that should be the final verdict, and has to be obeyed by the other person. And it aspects the eighth house. So here Mars has also got the Scorpion kind of a thing, where he's kind of revengeful in nature, where he's kind of scheming against the other individuals. And Mars also aspects the ninth house. Ninth house is the house of philosophy. Now whatever could be ninth house, that is owned by Jupiter. Most of the people think that this is a house of fortune and luck, and of course it's a good house in Vedic astrology. But Jupiter in today's modern age and era can be quite a chaotic planet, because of the fact that and you must not be aware of the fact that Jupiter is the cause of most of the wars, because most of the wars have been fought based on philosophy, and Jupiter is the person that rules our philosophy. So here the Mars person is very rigid when it comes to his philosophy. He is not ready to take any commands from others. He when placed into the second house, he is like a dictator who wants his order to be obeyed no matter what. He is like secretly scheming against somebody, and he feels that he is that king. But down within he forgets the fact that he doesn't have those characteristics of the king. King is intelligent. King is about wisdom, intelligence, wit, persona, that kind of a magnetic aura which Mars does not possess. But here, since Mars considers itself to be the king, things can go haywire, and it can lead to verbal abuse. So this is how we decipher out the effect of Mars placed in the second house. But now let's suppose there is a planet like Jupiter placed here. What will happen now is that Jupiter, as I already told you, aspects the first, fifth, seventh and ninth places from its position. So if we count 5 places from Jupiter, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So Jupiter is kind of putting its effect on its effect on the Mars. And since Jupiter is the minister who the Mars always listens to, so it can bring down the severity of that verbal abuse. In fact, it can turn that Martian verbal abuse into a channelized aggression. So he, placed in the house of his ancestors, might be fighting, might be a freedom fighter. He might be the one who fights for something like he conducts the fight against somebody who tries to erodes off their ancestral culture and traditions. So he could be even a freedom fighter. I should not exactly say the freedom fighter, but a person who ignites the feeling of, who speaks like a soldier and ignites the feeling of patriotism in the other people. So this is how the presence of Jupiter, the aspect of the benefic Jupiter on the chaotic Mars, can actually change the aggressive energy of the Mars into a very channelized aggression. And moreover, what's happening here is Mercury is in the 9th house, and as I told you, any other planet aspects the 1st and the 7th place from itself. So Mercury is present here. Let us count 7 places from Mercury. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So Mercury is also aspecting Mars, and Mercury is this house is 3rd, is controlled by Gemini. So Mercury is looking at its own house, so it will prevent Mars from indulging into any kind of a verbal abuse, or indulging into any kind of communication that is illegitimate, that is derogatory, or that is boorish in nature. So this is the way that these aspects are to be deciphered and the predictions are made. Let me give you another example. Now here what is happening is that Mars is placed in the 3rd house in the sign of Libra. Now why I say that Mars is considered to, as I already told you in that previous aspects episode, that whosoever has Mars in his 3rd house, he has all the courage in this world. He has all the he has all the powers, he has all the courage, he has everything, every ability in him to go ahead and fight the war, to go ahead and face the enemy or any challenge that comes in front of him. So likewise we'll count. So Mars will have its effect here, 1st place. It will have its effect from 4th place from here, 1, 2, 3, 4. Then at the 7th place, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Then at the 8th place. So what is happening is that the presence of Mars in the 3rd house is considered to be very good, and so is the presence of Mars in the 10th house is considered to be a very good placement. As I told in the 6th house episode, that Mars, because 6th house in our Vedic astrology is the house of diseases, obstacles, challenges. It's the house where we are facing the challenges in life, competition in life, where we are facing the court cases and litigations, where we are encountering enemies. So Mars, and this is where Mars comes in very handy, because Mars is all about competition. Mars is all about fighting the battles. Mars is all about butchering off that enemy. Mars is all about competition, and then it's affecting the 9th house, and 9th house is the house of philosophy. That is, he has a very rigid philosophy. So whatever is the task that is designated to him, that he has set out on, that he has set out on a journey for, he is going to accomplish him. He is going to accomplish it no matter what. And then it aspects the 10th house of career. So Mars, if you already this house, Mars performs exceptionally well if placed in this particular house, 10th house, because this 10th house has the original energy of Capricorn, and Capricorn is the sign where Mars actually gets exalted. So here Mars is kind of gives you a kick in your career, and you need Mars to be placed in a spot like career, because when you step out of that house, you need not be that emotional fool, be that Cancerian personality who carries emotions or the chivalry on his sleeves. When you are stepping out into that big bad world where people are there to stab you, people are there competing with you, people are there to butcher you down, and they may even walk over your dead body to get up ahead in the ladder, because it's a world that is full of competition. It's a dynamic era of competition, and only Mars and the presence of Mars in the 10th house can actually make you very aggressive in relationship. I mean in the business sphere, and this is very good because you have all the courage in this world to fight any of the obstacles or the hurdles that come into you in the business sphere. So now can you relate that why Mars in the 3rd house is actually very good? It's because of the fact that it's aspecting the right houses where it performs very good. So this is how, and since it's the 8th aspect, the 8th aspects of Mars has to do with the Scorpion type of energy, has to do with investigation agencies, has to do with mining, has to do with oil, has to do with chemicals. So likely people who have Mars in this house can turn out to be good business people in the area of the oil industry, in any kind of a business entrepreneurship, or oil business. What else I told you? They can even be good sports people. They can even be good sports people. What else? They can do good in the wood business or the chemicals business, because 6th house is also the house of business, and Mars has got to also to do with medicine, and 9th house Jupiter has also controls the biology thing. The subject of biology is controlled by the Sagittarius thing. So it could indicate even somebody who is involved in manufacturing of medicine. So this is how the interpretations, the aspects are studied in Vedic astrology. You want one more example? Okay, I'll give you that. And in the 4th house episode, I told you that Mars does not perform well in the 4th house. And let us see why. Let us take any combination for, let us take 5 to be different. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 1, 2, 3, 4. So here Mars in the 4th house, because this 4th house has the original. Now although it has the Scorpion energy, but 4th house has the original energy of the sign Cancer, and Mars gets debilitated in the sign of Cancer. So Mars in the 4th house can, as I told you, can even lead to child abuse. It can lead to a very chaotic kind of a mindset, or there is some kind of a turbulence, chaos, or fights, or the regular bickering sessions going on in the family. And then Mars has its effect here, then 4th, 1, 2, 3, 4. Then Mars from here affects the 7th house. And as I told you in the 7th house episode, that Mars in 7th house, the only way he deals with the relationship is he want to exercise his commandership, he want to exercise his superiority over the other people, and relationships, especially the business personal relationships or even the business relationships, does not flourish like that Martian way, because it demands mutual trust, mutual cooperation, mutual compromise from both the sides. That is why Mars is even Mars here, Mars aspect on this house is kind of a bad influence. Now the 7th place, that is here, this kind of is a good aspect of Mars, that although it is kind of aggressive in home, but since it is aspecting the career, it's kind of a good placement. And likely I told you that when Mars comes into the 7th house, although it kind of spoils of the personal relationships, but it can help you gain a lot of success in the professional arena, because in the professional arena anybody would try to bring you down in this age of competition. And other than the 10th house, the 7th house is also the house of career, where you need a strong planet like Mars to be present. So can you see how things are so interrelated? And then 8th thing, it is aspecting this house, 11th house of networking, networking with people. That is, whenever he is networking with people in the business sphere or any kind of a large organizations, he wants people to listen to him. So here it's kind of not a good thing, because when you are part of organizations, it's about mutual trust. It's about mutual trust, and so if it's an organization that has to do with social, that has to do with the social trust, and what do I say? If it's an NGO that is represented by the 11th house, then Mars would not do that well. But if it's a business business forum, wherein you are networking with a large group of people, then the Martian aggression can come in very handy, because he wants people to listen to him. He wants people to follow what all rules or what all point he is putting forward. So he'll be obviously recognized as a personality who is very courageous, who is very aggressive, who can take up the stage and make the final decisions regarding what is to be done in the business sphere or the professional arena. So the presence of Mars in the 4th house, although is turbulent for the personal relationships, but it can bring you fame when it comes to this career thing. So this is the way the aspects are to be studied, guys. I hope you enjoyed this episode, and in case you want to see me over again, please do subscribe to my channel, and I'll be highly obliged if you do that. Till then, this is your host RISHU signing off, and stay healthy, stay wealthy, and do try to do good deeds and try to find out the purpose of your life through astrology. So namaste, love you.